Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. Today we're talking to Faiz Farj. He is a pharmacist, both compounding and retail. He's sharing with us today some of his knowledge and experience in the pharmaceutical business. Faiz, we were talking about quality control when we left. One thing I wanted to ask you, why did you choose pharmaceutical as your career?
So I was, it's a funny story actually. I was actually pre-med going into Wayne State.
Okay, was your intent to be a doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
And I always wanted to be in the healthcare field because I had a grandmother who passed away from diabetes. So I had an attachment to try to be somebody who's going to make a difference in people's health and prolong, uh, their life along with, um, satisfaction of life too, right? Quality of life. So when I was in pre-med, I wasn't in med school yet, but when I was an undergrad, I was out with my uncle who happens to be a physician. And it was about 10 o'clock at night and he gets a beep that he has to leave, a call. He was on call at the hospital. And I was like, what do you mean you have to leave? He's like, I'm on call. And I was like, hold on, is that the life of being a physician? And he was like, yeah, you're going to have to leave sometimes at 10, 11 o'clock. I go, that's not the career for me. I,
Yeah, unfortunately, people don't schedule their emergencies to be courteous, do they? They just happen when they happen. Yeah.
So at that point, I started researching to look into how can I remain in the healthcare field and not have to deal with being on call. And pharmacy was my calling at that point. And I felt like I could make a difference because I'm the last contact that a patient has for their therapy. They go see their doctor, then they come to me to fill the prescription. Any questions or concerns or that they may have are going to be directed at me at that point. And I actually enjoyed that aspect of it, being a pharmacist, the counseling part and speaking to my patients and understanding what their concerns are and what they're trying to achieve in their therapy.
And as far as what you need to really know for this is obviously chemistry is a big part of this. Is that really the strongest subject you have to have?
Yeah, especially in compounding, you have a lot of reactions that you need to understand and realize what are they doing and why are they doing it, especially like when you're making an emulsion and so on. Um, but yeah, chemistry is a big integral part to understanding the pharmacology of a medication and how it works. I would say maybe more biochemistry too.
Biochem. So you have to understand biology, anatomy, physiology, along with the chemistry.
Exactly, because you're just going through the whole pathway, right? What's this medication doing, and why is it doing it? What are the side effects? How's it being excreted? How's it being absorbed, and so on. So
And the human body is essentially just a chemical factory that has to stay in balance all the time,
yes,
right?
exactly. Yep.
So when we talked about compounding versus retail pharmacies, one thing that comes to mind is I've always looked at our basic healthcare and pharmaceutical system as reactive. It tends to wait until we have problems, and then it goes in and tries to, ease the pain, put band-aids on things, make us comfortable. It tends to, for a lot, ignore root causes. Compounding pharmacies to me have been more places where you go and there seems to be more of an effort to can we get ahead of this and prevent problems.
Exactly. We're a little more proactive. So at Vios, that's probably one of our biggest keys, right? Is that we're very proactive in our therapies. We tend to uh, promote and market some of the products that we make to physicians to help them understand that hey, we're being proactive here. We're trying to prevent this from happening, um, and it could be something as simple as just a vitamin. So that's what a lot of our R&D happens to be is how can we help prevent diseases before they become an issue.
So it's not just drugs to treat things; it's also vitamins and supplements to balance out what the body's missing.
Exactly.
So it gets into the nutritional side of things.
Yeah, we believe in the holistic side of medicine also, right? So I mean, as a compounder, you have to believe in all aspects of therapy and treatments for patients because at the very end, you want what's best for them, and it's always is the one key thing we always got taught in pharmacy is quality of life. How do you improve quality of life? And so when I make hormones, for example, for patients, it's all about balancing their hormones and making them feel younger, stronger, better, healthier, more focused, better mood, better sleep, and so on. because all of that comes into plays an integral role in how you feel on a general basis, right? So if you don't sleep well, you're going to feel terrible the next day, and so on. So you try to take this whole circle of things in life, and you say, okay, how are we going to attack each part and make sure that the patient is going to feel what they need to feel. Even with like my pain creams, we started making pain creams about an emphasis on it about 4 years ago, and the reason why is because I was tired of the pandemic that was going on with opioids,
Okay.
where people were getting addicted to medication for no reason because they're only masking pain. So and I looked at my staff and I said, we need to treat the pain. We need to treat the condition that's creating the pain. So we started creating creams that were treating, whether it was inflammation or nerve damage or nerve inflammation and so on, in order to help assist these people to reduce their dependency on opioids and actually improve. And their pain tolerance went down with that.
Okay. So now you still need to work with licensed medical doctors to dispense a lot of what you're doing because it's still controlled substances. So how does that relationship, obviously you're probably working more with more holistic or osteopathic type doctors, I'm assuming.
No, we work with a lot of MDs, a lot of DOs.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of podiatrists, dermatologists, integrative medicine, hormone replacement docs. We work with a lot of the variety of different physicians.
And how does that work when you're trying to solve? Do you and the physician kind of collaborate and work together on trying to figure out what these solutions are?
Yes. So there's times where the physician will call me and he'll tell me what his issues are and what he's trying to treat. I'll make some recommendations. We go back and forth. He may have a specific API, which is the active ingredient that he really wants in the cream. We'll take a look at it. I'll let him know if it's going to work or not. And we have the back and forth discussion. Sometimes they just call and say, give me a solution. And I draw one up for them and I send it over to them and they take a look at it and say, yes, I want to proceed with this. So it's a little of both.
Okay.
But everything that we do is, it's patient specific. And it's a prescription from a physician.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in your information you sent me that you're part owner in a GPO. Can you explain what a GPO is and what that means?
So I'm a board member on a group purchasing organization. We represent pharmacies across the country. So we've grouped them together and we use that as a tool for buying power. And then we negotiate with wholesalers to give them a lower COGS on their medications that they buy.
Okay, so you're kind of wholesaling. Is that what you're doing?
Well, we're the middle guy, right? So
Okay.
we've grouped several hundred pharmacies together. We take that buying power and we present it to the wholesalers and we say, this is the pricing that we're looking for with the discounts and added rebates on the back end for compliant stores and so on. And they go from there. And then we negotiate it. The stores give us feedback during the negotiations too. Sometimes, let us know that, hey, we need better generic pricing or better brand pricing and so on. And then, when we finalize the deal with the wholesaler, we sign on behalf of all the stores and then they get the discounted rate on all the medications. And it's good for them because, they end up saving on the back end on their COGS, which helps them especially with the reduced reimbursements that we're facing in the country today. So.
Okay. For the retail pharmacist, I noticed that most of them have very large stores, and the pharmacy is a relatively small part of the square footage of those stores. Is the margin on the retail much better than what's going on in the pharmacy? Is that the money made in front of the pharmacy?
So I can't really speak to that because I've never owned a large grocery store or a large front end, but I do have family relatives that are in the grocery store business and, the gas station business, for example. So I do know that the margins in the front end, like, candy, gum, pop, and so on, I think they're looking at 30 to 40% margins in those areas, I think. So I'm assuming they make more money on the front end than they do on the back end.
Okay, yeah, because it looks to me with a lot of stores, the pharmacy is there as a draw. That's why it's in the back of the store. But they're hoping that you buy a lot of other stuff on the way in and out. And that makes me think that are the pharmaceutical prices highly regulated so you can't really market prices, or they're kind of controlled by insurance companies, or how does that work?
They're controlled by the insurance companies. So your reimbursement is controlled by the insurance company. So
Okay, so the margin is what it is, and you can't make it any more than it is, and there's no way to
Can't make
find
it more
efficiencies
than-
in there.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, that kind of explains, because that was always my thought when I see these stores go in, that it's a lot more store and a lot less pharmacy. Yeah.
And a lot of the times, those are just pharmacies renting space in these stores, and the store is owned by somebody else. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep. So
Okay,
for him, it's
okay.
a draw to have a pharmacy in there. It's also convenient for his customers to have a pharmacy in there. So, it's a mixture of both. It could be that like a CVS is owned by CVS's, but a lot of these grocery store chains that you might see, or smaller mom and pop grocery stores that have pharmacies in them, they're probably just renting the space there from.
Or like okay. So if I go to my local Kroger or Albertsons, whatever, that's
Yep.
Yeah, they okay. Right on those. And then
okay. So they kind of rent space out for that. I always looked at the way the stores were designed, and the fact that the big sign out front said pharmacy, but when you went inside, 80% of the floor space was dedicated to toys and beauty care and
all kinds of other stuff.
Because what are you going to do when you're waiting for your prescription? You're going to buy stuff.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You got to wait around for it. All right, we're going to have to take another short break. We come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Faiz Farj. He is a pharmacist. He's been a pharmacist for over 2 decades, and he has a retail pharmacy, but he also runs a compounding pharmacy. And we're going to continue this discussion after we get back from this break. Don't go anywhere. This is Building Solid Foundations Radio.